It's Locked On Hornets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, local experts on the #1 daily sports podcast network. You can thank you for making, I don't know why you can thank us. I don't know why I decided to change up the script there.
You can thank me whenever you want. I'll take a thank you.
Yeah, you can thank me for giving you this excellent read. You can thank Doug for laughing at me, but we're going to thank you for making Locked On Hornets your first listen every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. That includes YouTube. Can we get a counter, Doug? What number are we at now?
Last I checked, it was 9:30. You can thank me for getting Walker a new microphone.
That's right. Look at this.
Great.
Yeah, it's quite the contrast going from bright white with this blue windscreen. I still wanted to get something from the old mic because you've set me up with the equipment, at home equipment, both times now, and now I've upgraded. Is that just because now
I'm your podcast sugar daddy?
You really are. I really like that title for you.
Your pod daddy.
That one sounds, I don't know why I like podcast sugar daddy more than pod daddy.
PSD.
Yeah, that's what you are to me, Doug. You do give me PSD, and I thank you for that.
Sometimes I give you PTSD.
I think that's the joke. That's the one I was going with. We were going for PTSD. Thank you for the mic, though, Doug. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate you giving me all this beautiful content we have today. We've got some audio we're going to go over. James Borrego talking about James Bouknight, LaMelo Ball's aggression, and their paint decisions, which I know you talked about is pretty hard when you're a homeowner, Doug, and trying to make decisions on the right paint you want to use.
Yeah, well, that can send you down the longest of rabbit holes. You will be Alice in Wonderland if you try to go to the paint aisle in Home Depot. You're going to waste a whole damn day trying to do that.
Yeah,
it's one of the I think most consuming decisions as a homeowner is choosing what paint color.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I haven't had to do that yet, but you do it with the intent that it's going to be permanent because it's just such a pain to paint. And so I can understand that. Not what Borrego was talking about, though. He was talking about something completely different regarding these players. And so we'll get to that in just a moment as well. Talking about that Clippers game, still pretty long rest before they play their next contest against the Boston Celtics. So they had a rest yesterday and today until you play Boston tomorrow. And Doug, James Borrego was talking about a couple of problems that they've had with these teams that defend at a high level, and in particular, they defend the paint at a high level. Here's James Borrego talking about the positives from that Clippers game, but also the negatives and just overall the kind of teams they've had to battle so far.
Good defenses, good rim protection. I'd say that. A lot of these teams, and we're going to face another one on Wednesday. There's elite rim protection. And, Atlanta bothered us with their length and size at the rim. Obviously, last night, same thing. I think we missed the second most rim attempts in the NBA this season. Now, the positive is we got to the paint the most in the NBA last night. We touched the paint with the ball the most of any team in any NBA game this season last night. So that was a positive. Now it's just about rim decisions, paint decisions, and finishing. It's a combination. There were some that we could have finished, and there were some that we could have kicked out. There was obviously, we got to be better in our spacing. That's what we addressed today. We still want to get there, but it's just about making the right decision. And part of that is being in the right spots.
Yeah, and we talk so much about the defensive end of the court when addressing the big man position. But offensively, if you can get somebody that can shoot a crazy high percentage as a big guy that's 6'10 or above, that is the rim threat, that's also something we've kind of touched on here and there, but we've always focused more defensively. That's where the PJ Washington lack of finishing down low comes in, even though he is a good offensive threat stretching the floor. And then you get to those paint decisions, Doug, and it's LaMelo Ball trying to figure out exactly what to do when he gets to the goal. Anybody else that drives down there. Miles Bridges, he's finishing at a level right now where his decision should be just shoot and go through contact. It doesn't matter how ugly the shot's going to be because they're all falling in for him at this moment. So maybe you just go ahead and put him up. What did you think of the James Borrego audio?
Well, I think he's dead on. I mean, so frequency-wise, the Hornets are the third best team at getting to the rim. 36.3% of their offense, according to Cleaning the Glass, goes to the rim. But accuracy, they are 18th in the league, 63.7%. Shocking number, though, at the 18th in the league and the 63.7% at the rim. actually is kind of the best in franchise history, or at least in modern franchise history since 04-05. This team has generally been awful at the rim, and this shocked me. I had to look at these numbers a couple of times to make sure I was looking at them correctly, because I would have thought, at least in the Al Jefferson Bobcats years, they would have accumulated some gaudy rim numbers, but not really. James Borrego has it's the best offensive team in modern Bobcats Hornets history, 7th in the league right now in effective field goal percentage at 54%. So they're taking a lot at the rim and they're missing a lot. And I think it comes down to a couple of things. Yes, you have to have a big man who can finish or get fouled. Mason Plumlee has struggled with some of these rim attempts. When you get it to him easy, it's been great, but some of these pocket passes that LaMelo has thrown have turned into turnovers instead of buckets or fouls. The second thing is, how many of the rim attempts are coming in transition where you can get easier buckets versus the half court where it becomes a lot tougher, and it's really inherent on whoever's facilitating it at the rim to decide whether this is a genuine opportunity to score at the rim or whether it needs to get kicked out, and that's a major decision point.
Yeah, and talking about the Al Jefferson stuff, you think of him and he was an awesome post scorer, but that's not the modern NBA where you look at, points per possession when you talk about post-ups. It's actually not a very efficient play to go to, and so maybe even if Al was phenomenal at it, it's not like that's the most efficient shot. And James Borrego said it in this practice availability too. It's the number one thing we work on. What kind of decisions do we need to make in the paint, and then trying to finish at the goal? And also we work on the three-point shot as much as anything. Those are the things that we work on as much as any team in the NBA.
Yeah, you go to the rim hoping to get fouled because those free throw attempts are generally more efficient. That's what made James Harden, his drive was so deadly, not because he was hitting a bunch of layups. He could do that too, but it was because every time he entered the paint, it was probably going to end up being free throws. One thing on the Al Jefferson piece, in 13-14, they were 4th in the league in short mid at 41.7%. So I wonder if Al liked to set up on the low block, but he didn't necessarily like to always go to the rim. So maybe there was that aspect that I'm looking at there, some of his shots being counted as short mid. But it is shocking that this team has been so terrible. Even in the playoff season 15-16, they were 23rd in the league at the rim. They were just 12th in the league in three-point shooting and just average in the mid-range. And so that equated to a top 10 offense that year.
This is Locked On Hornets.
Then I clicked on M. Thomas. I'm like, who the hell is M. Thomas? Matt Thomas is his name.
NBA legend, Matty Thomas.
Matt
Thomas, I'm pretty sure Matt Thomas served me at an Applebee's the other day.
It's time for more of the Locked On Hornets podcast.